President Trump also announced a new trade deal with the UK. All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two.
Revelation was that Meghan said that she and Harry actually got married 3 days before the royal wedding. Great, now I feel like a fool for waking up at 5 a.m. to watch two married people get married.
What if I told you there's one couple so powerful? They've managed to unite American late-night hosts, British comedians, cartoon shows, and even politicians into one thing, making fun of them. Yeah, we need to talk about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Because at this point, it's not even gossip anymore. It's basically a global comedy series. And the wild part, it just keeps getting better. Because just when you think the jokes are over, someone else jumps in with a flamethrower, like when Colin Jost casually dropped a joke that sounded like it came straight from your group chat.
With all the potions, Meg. You're not going scientist on me, are you?
If I'm going to succeed in America, I need a lifestyle brand of creams and supplements. Gwyneth Paltrow has Goop, Kourtney Kardashian has Poosh, and Jamie Lee Curtis has Poogert. Now I've got mine, Meg Goo, celebrating the sexy earth goddess in all of us.
He talked about a spin-off of Suits, focusing on Meghan's character, and then boom. He described her life as balancing a legal career while taking care of an unemployed immigrant. That immigrant? Yeah, that's Harry. And listen.
Meghan Markle has confirmed she loves putting flour sprinkles on her food, saying she loves taking something pretty ordinary and elevating it. And I guess it's a bit like what Prince Harry did when he married a briefcase girl from Deal or No Deal.
You could feel the audience pause for half a second like, wait, are we allowed to laugh at that? And then they absolutely did. Because that's the thing about this whole situation. It writes itself. Ever since they stepped away from the royal family, it feels like they didn't escape the spotlight. They rebranded it. They went from royalty.
NBC has announced plans for a spin-off to the hit series Suits. It will focus on Meghan Markle's character's struggle to balance her legal career while also caring for an unemployed immigrant.
A reporter asked Trump about Meghan Markle, and this is what he had to say about her.
I'm not a fan of hers, and she probably has heard that, but I wish a lot of luck to Harry, because he's going to need it.
Wow.
The little flower petals that are dried, I started putting them on salads. I started putting them on scrambled eggs.
I'm elevating it by putting dried flower petals on all of my food. And just, it adds a little bit of magic. It elevates things.
To reality show energy. And comedians noticed immediately. Chris Rock didn't even hesitate. He looked at their whole story and basically said, "You married into the royal family? And you're shocked there's drama?" That's like moving into a haunted house and being mad there are ghosts. Like, what did you think was going to happen? And then he went straight for the moment everyone remembers, the whole conversation about their baby. But instead of treating it like some shocking revelation, he flipped it, called it curiosity. Something people from every background have, and just like that, he dismantled their entire narrative in under a minute. The audience? Gone. Absolutely gone. But then South Park stepped in, and when South Park decides you're the episode, you already know it's over. They turned the whole thing into a world privacy tour, a couple walking around screaming, "Leave us alone," while doing interviews, signing deals, filming documentaries. It was so ridiculous. And somehow still felt accurate, because you can't say we want privacy while dropping content like it's a Netflix season finale. Speaking of Netflix, that's where things got even funnier. And yeah, because now you've got a prince. A literal prince. Trying to navigate Hollywood like an intern on day one. Jimmy Kimmel had a field day with that. Harry writes a whole memoir and talking about how much he doesn't like attention. Think about that. That's like saying you hate noise. While starting a podcast, it doesn't even make sense. But somehow it keeps happening. And then there's Meghan's attempt at being relatable. You know the one. The simple life content. Pouring pretzels from one bag into another bag. Like she just unlocked a life hack no one else could comprehend. Jimmy Fallon literally joked that scientists are still trying to figure out why she does that, because at this point, it feels less like lifestyle advice and more like performance art. And just when you think it couldn't get more chaotic, enter Donald Trump, who looked at the whole situation and basically said, "Yeah, good luck, Harry." Which is wild, because when he's the calm one in the situation, you might want to reassess a few things. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Even people who defended them at first started switching sides. Trevor Noah initially gave Meghan the benefit of the doubt, talked about media treatment, bias, all of that. But then he watched Harry, a prince, asking for voiceover work in Hollywood. And that's when it clicked. This wasn't about escaping anything. This was about trading one kind of power for another. And suddenly, the tone changed. Because now it didn't look like a couple trying to disappear. It looked like a couple trying to rebrand themselves into relevance. And comedians, they smell that instantly. Even Stephen Colbert jumped in, joking about their nicknames for each other, sounding like a clothing store. At this point, everything they do feels packaged, curated, like it's designed to go viral first and make sense later. And that's why the jokes don't stop. Because the gap between what they say and what they do is huge. Like, you could drive a royal carriage through it, even in the UK where they don't play around with sarcasm. Jimmy Carr basically said what everyone was thinking. You can't lecture people about certain issues while pretending your past didn't happen. The internet remembers, always. And then there's John Oliver, who saw this whole thing coming before the wedding even happened. He literally warned that marrying into the royal family was stepping into something messy, complicated, and very, very weird. And somehow, that ended up being the most accurate prediction of all. So now we're here, years later, and every time Meghan and Harry pop up, it's not just news anymore, it's content, it's material. It's another episode in a story that comedians just refuse to let go of. Because, honestly, it's too easy. So now I've got to ask you, do you think they're being unfairly targeted? Or do you think they've become exactly what comedians love most? Walking punchlines. Drop your take in the comments. I'm actually curious where people stand on this. And if you made it this far, you're clearly one of the real ones. So go ahead, hit subscribe. Because trust me, this story, yeah, it's not ending anytime soon.